Hey guys, thanks for joining me for another Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia video, and today we are going to do a character guide on Lion. So in this video we're going to look at her calls, we're going to look at her artifacts, her spheres, and then just show you how to play her. She's actually a fun character. I kind of like Lion. There's a part of me that wants to invest a little bit higher on her, but we'll see. She's definitely not like a mega must-have, like meta-relevant character, but I think if you like her, she is a lot of fun. I kind of like her playstyle. I like her animations too. She has some really cool animations, so we'll take a look at that. So let's start with her calls. Her calls, honestly, are something I would hardly ever use. There would be very, very slim situations where I feel like I would need her calls. Her base call, Sneak Attack, just does a basic attack. The big thing that it does for the caller is it gives them a small attack up, and it gives them a crit rate up. And then on the LD, it does an attack up, a crit damage up, HP damage up, and an overflow up. So her calls basically just do basic buffs to your calling character. Not the craziest. The time that you might need this is if you're on a pesky boss where you have to deal crit damage and they can't be broken. Because if bosses can be broken, attacks against broken enemies are always crits, right? But there are some bosses where, like, I know with Lufenia orbs you'd have to deal crit damage. They would do it like during Barrett's cycle, or like, Kate Sith's cycle, where like you have to deal crit damage and they enable crits, and then they would make it so the bosses can't be broken, so it'd be really hard to crit. So if there was some situation where you needed like a critical chance up, like sure, you could bring this, but then once again, you might as well bring Kate Sith call or Barrett call, right? So Lion's call really doesn't really have a place. It's just kind of a filler. If you just want some generic buffs to make your calling character look a little bit better, you could bring it. But don't summon Lion for the calls, right? The calls aren't like crazy right there. There are a lot better calls in the game you can use. But let's look at Lion herself. Now, basically Lion is a pretty speedy little dagger character, pretty much a damage dealer through and through. She does do a little bit of buffing and debuffing, so she's kind of like a mixed character. I think she's going to be a lot of fun though. So let's go ahead and look at her artifacts here. Now, Lion's artifacts are extremely important. So for those of you that are newer players, Lion is what we call a cursed artifact character. And what that means, there was 6 characters that had this. And basically, the way DFFOO originally was going to do reworks was through artifacts. And people didn't like that because farming artifacts was really, really bad back then, because you didn't get guaranteed oranges. It was a lot more tedious of a process. And so basically, to have the proper reworked character, you needed to farm the artifacts. So there was pretty much an outcry when this happened. They got feedback that people really didn't like this, so they only got through 6 characters and then stopped doing it. So Lion is one of these cursed characters. Now, in today's game, it's not hard to get these at all, especially if you have Mog Pass. But you really want the cursed arts because they're meant to basically be a part of her kit. So what you want are her cursed arts are buff attack boost up and charged powder keg boost. So you're going to notice these artifacts are a lot more powerful than traditional artifacts because, once again, these were meant to be the character's rework. So her buff attack boost raises max brave and attack by 20%. So that's huge. So if you have 3 of those, you're getting 60% to max brave and attack. So like I said, it's more than just like a slight buff. It's actually like a rework. So you really need these cursed arts if you're going to run these characters. Charged powder keg boost. Powder keg use +1 and then max brave by 10%. So by having 3 of these on, you're getting 30% max brave and actually 3 more skill uses of a skill. So that's how you know you have a curse, because the cursed artifact characters are the only ones that actually get skill uses off of their artifacts. So yeah, it's really like, I really can't argue anything else for her. Like, you just want both of these on all 3 slots, which I do have. So you want those cursed artifacts there for sure. And then on the spheres, we'll go into those there. So Lion's kind of unique in that she doesn't do any elemental damage, but she enables herself to do weakness damage. So she is a weakness damage character. So you'll see I loaded her up with all weakness spheres that are doing what I want. So with Lion here on the A slot, I've got Rydia, which is probably my favorite weakness sphere for the A slot. It's attack and brave damage, which on a damage dealer, that's what you want. And Lion does do a lot of attack buffing, so brave damage carries a little bit more weight on her. So having brave damage there is very good. So I really like Rydia in that A slot, but go ahead and just choose whatever you have available for brave damage or attack. And once again, weakness spheres will trigger on her. In the D slot, basically anything that's going to buff party attack, right? So it would be like Saz, Lise, Ashe, Hope. Those have been like the main 4, but now we can add a 5th to that in Luna Freya. And Luna Freya's is refinable right now, so I went and refined up like 12 of these. So I've got plenty of these to throw around. So when dealing weakness damage, party attack up. Even on the refined one, it's still something, right? So I put Luna Freya's there just because I just happened to refine a bunch, and I've got a bunch of them right now. But Hope, Ashe, Lise, Saz, all those are fine for the attack boosting there in the D slot. Then on the E slot, you know, you could go a couple routes with the E slot. The main route you'd probably want to go is buffing attack. If you did want to have more utility, you could try doing like maybe a debuff line doesn't have, or if you want to do like a poison or something like that. But for me, I really like Pain here. I think Pain is a really great fit. And I did go ahead when Pain had recently come back. I went and refined a bunch of Pain spheres because she's got a really nice E slot sphere. So this is another weakness sphere. Party attack up and then lowers enemy attack. So I like that you're getting 2 really good effects because attack down is a good debuff to do. And then you're also raising party attack with it. I think Auron, Seymour, Yuffie, Emperor, those are also other good options. Auron is like a really big fat like physical attack up. So if you really want to beef up your Lion, you could put a big fat Auron on there for the big attack up for physical attack. But it's kind of up to you. But I really like Pain in that slot. So that's my kind of setup there on the spheres. Now my Lion is maxed out with the exception of I only have her Force Enhanced 10. I'm still debating. I really like her. I might decide to put her up to 30 if I feel like I'm going to use her. I did just, so I'm to the point where I just finished my last Ultima weapon, so I just started a new Ultima weapon. So I'm going back into Dagger again, so this is just a supplement level 0 Dagger. So the Ultimate Dagger, she does have it. It's going to be a lot better than her EX+, but it's not as good as if I had like a full supplement one on there. And then I just have her base Lufenia armor, but I haven't plussed it yet, and I doubt I'm going to blue her. I just don't have the resources to do that. But let's just see how Lion is looking in this fight. So let's hop in here. So I'm going to pair her with Luna Freya and Charlotta, right? So let's go ahead and hop into this fight. See how good we can make Lion look here. We don't really need to worry about a friend unit, so we'll just hop in like this. Alright, so Lion is fairly simple to play. There isn't like a main rotation you need to do, but I would open with the LD. Once you open with the LD, then you're kind of just like maintaining the buffs, right? Now I guess you don't have to open LD because the LD gives her the bully buff, which she does start with 6 turns on it, right? Which is really big. But I'll open with it because I usually like to open with it because you're going to get 12 turns on it when you open with it or when you just use the LD. She only has 3 skill uses, so you definitely don't have to like start with it right away. But let's go ahead and throw that on there. And let's just see what the damage is looking like here. And you can see weakness damage right out the gate. And she's not enchanted or anything. And you're going to notice that she gets a follow-up. So there we just did 800k with a little bit of splash, right? So what this attack does is kind of got a lot packed into it. So one thing is many of her attacks cannot miss. So this attack can't miss. So if you're facing a pesky enemy that dodges a lot, or like if you're doing those those gold or those like cactuars, those special cactuars when you're farming, you could throw Lion because those can be they can dodge it, can be kind of annoying, but really that isn't like hugely relevant. There aren't a lot of bosses that are like, oh my god, they're dodging all the time, but it's something she has, she can't miss, right? But she gets 12 turns of this bully buff. Now what she gets from the bully buff is she gets follow-up. So you saw the follow-up there. So anytime Lion attacks, she's going to do this bully follow-up. Now, what's really awesome about the bully follow-up, it can't miss like her other attacks, but the big thing is it does dispel a buff off the enemy. So Lion is actually one of the better dispellers in the game because not only does she dispel on bully, which is going to happen every time she attacks, but she also dispels on another attack we'll talk about later, right? And then the other thing is she gets a special brave attack. So we'll talk about that in a second. Let me get these characters moving here. Let me do a Light of the Crystal just to get some battery going. Let's do Charlotta's BT attack here. And then what I think I'm going to do with Luna Freya is I think I'm going to put Quick Prayer and Heavy Prayer on Lion, I think is what I'm going to do to make her look good. Actually, no, I'm going to use... I think I'm going to use Luna Freya's BT effect first so I get more turns of it. Yeah, let's get Luna Freya's BT effect up. Alright, so Luna Freya. Yeah, let's just do your BT effect. Actually, let's do your free energy heal first. Since we're just going to recover it anyways, right? Okay. And then let's go ahead and do the BT effect. All right, perfect. And then we're going to be hopping back into Lion. So we'll kind of continue to go through and talk about our attacks. Now, Lion specifically with the EX, you're going to want to use it directly after an opponent's turn. And the reason why is because it gets an additional like attack on it, which is really awesome. So it's kind of a unique thing where like the EX is actually better if used directly after an opponent or after a party member's turn. So not after an enemy's turn, after a party member's turn. So that's where the Brave plus might come in, right? So what's going to happen here, where am I at? I'm not really close to getting the EX here, but you can see she has Brave Attack Bully at the top. So it's kind of cool because it's turn manipulation. So what it is we'll just try it. So I'll press it, and then it's going to allow her to go immediately after an ally. And so the only bad part about this is it does eat up turn count, and it is going to use up a turn of her buffs. But if you need it, you definitely can use it for the turn manipulation. So let's say I want her to go after Lunafreya. So I can select Lunafreya. And then she will actually still do the Brave attack, and she does still get the Bully follow-up. So it still does damage, right? It's just not a ton of damage. But now her turn now went after Lunafreya. So there is a little utility there with that turn manipulation, right? Now that I've got Lunafreya up, now Lunafreya can be like, all right, let's go ahead and put the Quick Prayer on Lion. Now we're going to give Lion a bunch of turns. And now since Lunafreya got a free instant turn, Lunafreya can use the LD. This is now going to give Heavy Prayer to Lion. So now Lion's going to have a lot of turns and going to hit a lot harder. I know we're kind of showing off Lunafreya here a little bit. So now Lunafreya gets a bunch of turns from her own Quickness Prayer. So we'll go ahead and just pop through her turns very quickly here. It's pretty hard to like not make Lunafreya look good because you know we want her on the party, but yeah, she just dominates. Lunafreya is so good, and I'm probably gonna use her in a lot of showcases because she's gonna be pretty much the character to bring out the best in these characters in these showcases, right? All right, so we're just gonna dip through very quickly here. Let's just do HP pluses to go through quick here. Okay, but yeah, the battery, like, especially with Charlotta, it's probably overkill on all the battery. All right, sure, and we got another one of those. Sure, let's just do this. All right, so now Lion's up, and Lion's going to get to just spam some turns. So it's almost like giving Lion her own little burst phase here, so we can just show off her attacks, right? Let's go ahead and let's do Sneak Attack Hide. Now, so her 15 and 35, they'll have, their plus versions are called Hide. So if you see Hide, you're getting the plus versions. And basically, you just want to upkeep that the whole time, and that comes from the LD. So you just want to upkeep that LD buff, and you're going to get that. Now, her 15 and 35 both have high turn rate. So sometimes she will jump turns on them. Now that we have 4 turns in a row, like we're not really going to see that here. But let's just do Sneak Attack so you guys can see it. So you're going to do the base attack, which does some good damage, and then you get the Bully follow-up. And look at that. We just did 1,000,000 damage. Now, yes, we're dressing her up with a very good supported team. But the fact we just dipped out 1,000,000 damage there is kind of crazy on a 15 CP attack, right? So what she did on that, she did Brave Gain during her attacks. She deals weakness damage, she can't miss, and then she just gets an attack up. Very, very simple, right? So basically just giving her an attack up buff. Now let's do Powder Keg. Yep. And then there was 800k with like, or almost 900k with like a 400k splash. That was pretty good. So Powder Keg here did a Brave Gain, weakness damage, can't miss. Gives her a max brave up and a crit rate up, and then it does max brave down and defense down on the enemies. So her 15 and 35, they're very simple. You just use them to do damage. Just know you're going to get some basic buffs, and on that 35, you're going to do some debuffs. The one thing I do want to mention is that Lion does have a mixed kit. She's got like melee damage, and then like that Powder Keg is actually like range damage, so she's got a little mix of attack types in there as well, right? Okay, so we're getting pretty close to being able to do the EX, and then that's basically everything, right? So let's go ahead and let's just do another Powder Keg. Now the thing is Sneak Attack is more spammable. I believe she does recover skill uses on it, so Sneak Attack is the one you really want to spam, but Powder Keg is kind of the stronger attack, right? Okay, so what I'm going to do is I just want to make sure that I get the more powerful EX. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to Brave Attack Bully, and I'm just going to put her after Charlotta. And keep in mind, all of these attacks Lion are doing that we're not really getting to see in this video is, once again, she's dispelling. Like, she's actually a powerful dispeller. Dispel is very good against some, like, really pesky bosses, right? Okay, let's go ahead and sure, let's just do crystal generation, I guess. Do some damage here. I mean, yeah, we're just doing insane damage with these supports that we have, right? All right, so let's go ahead and do the EX. So we're attacking immediately after an ally's turn. So this should be the more powerful version of the EX. So let's pop that. I love the animation on this, by the way. It's pretty crazy. Just this gigantic long laser sword. I mean, just... Yeah, and then there's the extra damage we got, and then the bully. So we got 2 follow-ups. We did 1.3 mil with 800k to the other enemy. Very, very strong, right? And I believe that additional is like holy damage, which is kind of crazy. So there is a little bit, like that's the only thing in there. There's a little bit of element. But the big thing about that EX is that dispels all enemy buffs. So that's just a complete board wipe. So any buffs enemies have, she's just going to wipe them there. And then that is what recovers a use of her skill 1. So the skill 1, you'll see my sneak attack is back up to 10, even though I had it down to 9. And then it does turn rate down on the enemy. So it's going to like slow the enemies down a little bit, right? Now we haven't done this yet. We can do sneak thrust. This is the AA. Just a basic little attack. It's going to do an attack up, brave damage limit up. So just some basic stats. So definitely buttons you can press. But as long as you keep that bully buff up, you're going to be good to go, because now she's just like going crazy and doing a bunch of damage. Let's just do another LD. I mean, that's it. That's basically Lion, right? Just watch her bully buff. Keep that up. Make sure you have the hide versions of your attacks. Strategically use your Brave Plus to position her if you need to. We just did 1.5 mil there, by the way. Pretty darn strong attack. So anyways, Lion's looking pretty good. I'm actually a fan of Lion. I like her a lot. So anyways, guys, let me know what you think. Hopefully this guide helps. Thanks for watching. We'll catch y'all on the next one.